what have you learned? Like, how can we be better communicators, and what are you going to do to improve your impact this time?
So, be less scared of people and less scared of ordinary conversations. And you asked before what were the threats to the birds, and I had a bit of a battle on the last trip with kind of scientists, because I wanted the main message for communities that you go to be, we're trying to find out what's going wrong for these birds. We don't have all the answers. And that's a really uncomfortable thing for a lot of scientists to say, Indeed. to release that power of giving information. So I definitely would like us all to be more humble about it. If people keep thinking, the scientists or the conservationists have got it all covered, we're okay, we're in safe hands, it's fine. As long as people keep thinking that, we're going to keep on going down the same path. So I think I would love everybody to feel more comfortable about saying, we need help. We haven't got it covered. Yeah, fine. Like, donate. We need your money as organizations, but we definitely haven't got it all covered.
My work better, actually. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then in terms of interactions with people, this is quite a specific thing, but this is what I want to kind of formalize on the next trip, and ideally I'll turn that into something that should be part of all training in conservation. But I just noticed that there were 3 key things in terms of engaging people. So the sort of tick box on application forms of, here's your research project, are you going to engage people? Yes. I always found that a little bit unsatisfactory, because it's very easy to say yes and just do like a school event or something, but it's quite hard to see whether that really worked. The key sort of story journey I found with people was that, yes, they were excited by the idea of the crazy lady trying to be the human swan, but that didn't make them want to do anything. And then they got kind of engaged and intrigued when I started to tell stories about, the amazing things that birds do and some of the things that we've seen in the past, and the mysteries around it. People were engaged in that. That also didn't make them want to help. It was only later in the trip that I started telling stories about other people along the flyway who had offered to do something or who were already doing something. And that's what made people start to go, oh, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. And so that, for me, is how I suppose I'm going to bear that in mind and formalize that wherever possible. And the other thing, I suppose, is we had been trying to engage with the hunters in the Arctic for quite a long time, and we've been writing papers about it, and we've been x-raying birds since, I think, the late 1980s. And I still went to a lot of communities, and people said, well, if that was a problem, why has nobody ever spoken to about us before?
Like we can shoot something completely different. If they were told.
Yes. And
crazy.
And so that's it. And I suppose finding alternative ways. Your enemies could also be your best friends. So a part of, at the very beginning of Flight of the Swans, the big challenge was crossing the Russian Arctic, the logistics. Now, who knows best about the logistics of crossing the Russian Arctic where the birds are going? It's the hunters and the hunting tourism operators. And they were the first people I spoke to, brought them on board, and they loved the idea of the challenge. And then once you've got them interested in that, engaged in that, and then in the why, and now they are our Swan Champion network up in Russia, carrying on the work. But they also said the similar. So one of them brought us his brochure for his Arctic tourism operation. It has a picture on the front of a couple of people barbecuing a couple of birds over a fire, and one of them is very obviously a Buick Swan. And he showed it to us, and he was like, I just had no idea. I had no idea. And now keen to help. So